What's up, guys? We're back with another one. So this one is actually a build on top of our last discussion. We talked about, not starting over, stop starting over. But here's what happens when you do. So when you have this new passion, this fire, this desire to move forward, ride the wave. Okay, use that emotion, use that passion, and do as much as you can. But you also want to temper it. You want to be balanced by metering out what you're doing. So, for instance, and I keep using a book because it's almost one of the most common examples. Like, for instance, we're in the month of November, and this is also no, I think it's called No Remo, which is November Writing Month. And so, a lot of people who have always had a dream of writing a book, this is the month to do it. I think you write about 5,000 words a day for 30 days or something like that, or 2,000 or 2,500 words. And by the end of the month, you should have the length of a novel, which is about at least 80,000 words worth. Okay. So the point is, though, when you get to this space where you're super excited, you're beginning again, you're starting, you could burn yourself out if you don't actually start planning and mapping out where and when you should be producing some sort of content. Now, remember, this is for individuals. This is for those of us who are actually sharing something. So don't go based on, in the long run, you can't go based on feeling. You have to go off of your self-discipline. Okay, so let's take a step back. When COVID-19 happened, I'm going to start off with this story. When COVID-19 happened, I canceled my gym membership, or at least I thought I did, not realizing that you had to actually go in person with a written letter or something and actually cancel your membership. And that's a whole nother story about user experience and how gyms are set up to keep you trapped in unless you actually do the work without sending an email or whatever. It's a mess. But the point is this: canceled the membership and decided to do in-home workouts. And, just did a bunch of research and tried to figure out what's the most holistic, total workout that you can do that's not overbearing. And then, you can just kind of build on that. And so core workouts is probably the best ones to do. And the most efficient one was a burpee, doing burpees. So I started doing burpees. And I couldn't even make it to 10 at one point. It was super difficult, guys. Very challenging to just do 10 burpees, in one sitting. And so, just kind of working on it. And eventually I kind of fell off. I actually have it tracked here. I fell off and I started doing some other things, maybe some push-ups or things like that. But the problem was the consistency. After a while, I stopped doing the burpees and then I came back, but then I started doing them in sets. So I said, okay, let me do 10 sets of burpees, then 30 bicycle crunches, and then 15 like knee dips. And I'll just do those in 3 sets. So I started doing that for a while, and started building, you just continue to build the muscle that way. And recently, and when I say recently, I mean over the last about 70, 80 days. So I've been doing indoor workouts now for almost 3 months straight. I've been tracking this thing. I take a day off, but where I now add 1 extra rep on the burpee that I'm doing, 1 extra, crunch, push up, jump, all that. Like I do 1 more. And now I'm at the point, guys, that I can do 40 burpees a day. Yeah. 40, like 40. Now, I don't know if anybody's watching right now, but let me know if you've ever had any challenges with doing any kind of exercises and maybe some success in how you have started with maybe 1 probably, and now you're able to do 50 or maybe even able to do maybe 10. It doesn't matter how much, but you know that you have done more than what you started with. Let me know, because I had the philosophy, this is how I'm going to start. At one point I was able to push to 20. And then I said, you know what? Just do 1 extra one every day. And so now I'm able to cross the 30 a day threshold. And now I'm able to cross the 40 a day threshold. We're about to hit 50, guys. And so I say all of that to say that if I try to just shift all the way from 10 to do it to failure, failing, it could work. There's a methodology in, working out till, you reach muscle failure. But the point is this: it was more digestible for me. It was more palatable for me to just say one more, just do one more rep and add on top of it, build on top of it. So practically what that means for you, if it's not if it's not with exercise, it's going to be with some of the other things that you know you were supposed to do, that you know you were called to do. So speaking of calling, speaking of storytelling and all of that, I got the site up. I think it's where is it? Like right there. So antihero.clinic. And I got to revamp some things. So we're going to work that stuff out. I think right now you should be able to at least like put your email in for the update. But the point is this, and I'm probably going to send out an email or do a live when it's up. But I'm going to be capturing all of the information, all of the things that we've been talking about, all of the experiences that I've had, and build out a curriculum. Like we're going to do this thing legit. We're going to do the thing that it was supposed to be before. But here's the thing, you got to take your time. So even right now, this might have been the second or third time you see my face today, especially if you're on LinkedIn as well, because I've got different kinds of content that's up. There's healthcare stuff, and then there's branding stuff, and then there's, anti-hero stuff, and then miscellaneous stuff. The point is, even myself, I'm building out a content schedule, because if I don't build out the content schedule throughout the day, the ideas are going to come. But there are times when you can't go online, or you can't live stream, or you can't record, and you have to sit with that idea and you have to schedule it out for the next day, or maybe even for the next week. You have to be in control of your time. Use the passion. Okay. Don't let the passion go away. Don't let that feeling of, man, yes, I'm fired up. Yes. Use the fire. Okay. But meter it out. It's a long game. Discipline will keep you where passion can't take you, I think is the quote, or maybe it's the other way around. Passion will take you there, but discipline is what keeps you there. Okay. So you have to play the long game. You have to be consistent. All right, guys. And so that's really it for this one. The whole point is you just got to do one extra rep, one added thing. So if it's videos, right? Just do one extra day. Like, don't even worry about, start with one a week. The reason why I can do the amount that I'm doing now is because I've done this before. I've been doing this for a while, but it's been off and on. And so now it's just taking all of this stuff and structuring it. But for those of us who's like, man, 3 times a week is stressful, then don't stress. Just do what you can manage and then build on top of it. There is no rush. All right. Why is there no rush? Because for the biggest reason is, you should have started it maybe 3 years ago. Now you're doing it. The best time to start is today. Don't try to make up for the last 3 years, 4 years, 10 years of what you wish you could have done, what you should have done. That's not how it works. You start with where you are now, and then you still take your time. Don't try to think, and this is probably important for a lot of us, don't think that you have to play catch up to somebody else that you're comparing yourself to. There's the comparison trap is real. And you now have to, they may have 300 videos up. And I'm using videos because we're on, we're live streaming right now. We're on social media. So they might have 300 posts up of whatever it is. And so now you're just now getting in the game. You're like, I got to get to 300 by the end of the year. No, that's not how it works. First of all, you need to make sure that your content is valuable. You don't want to have 300 videos of trash. You don't want to have 300 blog posts of fluff. Do the work, do the research, dig deep, go through the process that you typically go through. Don't rush it, but make sure that you are consistent. That's one of the biggest things that's going to really throw a lot of us off. If we try to rush this process, you already started and you might have started late. That's okay. Now that you started, forget about starting late. You have started on time. Do not stress yourself out. If you're like me, you might get anxiety thinking about the future of things that you haven't even done yet. Don't worry about it. Put the week in mind. Okay, how do you do this practically? I use the Full Focus Planner. Okay, this is by Michael Hyatt's company, and he breaks this thing down into chunks, into quarters. So you've got the annual goals, and then you break down each of the annual goals into your the SMARTER system. So it's specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and I think he puts another E and an R. It's like exciting and risky, something like that. It's got to be something that's big enough for you to want to take it on as a challenge. Then he breaks it down into quarters. So we get one of these. If you do like a yearly subscription, you get one of these every quarter. So you just start working now on your annual goals by chunking them up into quarters. And then in the quarters, you break it down into weeks. And so in those weeks, you got like your weekly big three. Like, what are the weeks? And obviously they're months, but but we break these down in the quarters. It's just going by weeks. What are you doing this week? What are you doing next week? And then in that week, you break it down into days. And in those days are your daily big threes. That's it. You're triaging the most important things that need to happen for that day. Your day is not going to go as planned maybe most of the time, but there's a section in there, and you don't really need this planner per se, but have an ideal day. What does your ideal day look like? It's something that you should strive for. And so you know that this is what you should strive for, but know also that you are triaging. Triaging means, it's a medical term, but you actually do very particular tasks first so that you can figure out who's the most important patient or the critical condition that needs to be dealt with first. I think that that's what it is. So that's the same thing that you're doing for your day and for your tasks. Don't get overwhelmed. So it's the same thing. Now that you have this new fire, you're like, okay, I'm ready to go. Good. Start triaging, though, the tasks that need to be done. You need to have the vision. It needs to be long-term. Passion will eventually leave, and it will be the self-discipline, and it would actually be the thing that you have written down that you can look at, writing the vision that you can look at and saying, okay, I know what I need to do. Even if I don't feel like doing it right now, this is what needs to happen. All right. Another thing that you can do is write it out. Some of these planners don't have like the notes thing. So, some of us can know how to, draw and doodle and all of this. So actually, this is what I'm doing right now on LinkedIn, right? What I'm doing is I'm taking all of the notes that I've had about branding over the last 5-6 years, and I'm literally opening it up and sharing, almost like reading a storybook. I'm sharing the stuff that I've learned. So that takes so much stress off of me trying to come up with, oh my goodness, what do I need to do for tomorrow? More than likely, you have a lot of stuff, especially if you feel like you've been procrastinating over the years for doing this thing. You probably have some stuff written down, and all you need to now do is to show your work. Austin Kleon I think he has a 3-set series now of books. It's Steal Like an Artist, Show Your Work, and I can't remember the third one. But the point is, that's what you're going to be able to do. That's what you're going to want to be able to do, is write this stuff down so that you can chunk it out, so that you can map it out, so that you can phase out the responsibilities over weeks, over months, over quarters, and don't burn yourself out. Don't burn yourself out. And let's see, what was the last thing that I wanted to say? Just start. Some of you are probably in analysis paralysis mode. A lot of us knows what that feels like. And then there are some of you, okay. And then there are some of you where you're doing the work, but when you're talking to other people, it makes it seem as if you're not doing anything at all, or as if you're too scared or whatever the case is, but you're still doing the work. And so this is kind of the difference between your brand identity in the marketing world and brand image. Your brand identity is, I'm getting it done, but when I'm speaking out loud, it makes it seem as if I'm stuck. You're not really stuck, but you're speaking stuck. And you have to stop doing that, because eventually the people that you are speaking and communicating to will start reflecting something that's not even true for you. And then you start to believe that. I know that sounded kind of meta, but you have to unstick, if that makes sense, yourself by working through the process. So what does that look like? Here's another 1 rep at a time. My first master's that I completed took me 7 years, and that's because I had a gap. Like, I was doing self-employment and all of that in between. And so, I think I graduated like a 3.2 or something like that, right? Like, barely made it over. Took a long time to get there. When I did this one, right, this one is a little bit more nuanced, right? It's an MBA, healthcare. Like, this is a little bit more, there's a lot of finance stuff in it, and bureaucracy of healthcare policies and ethics and medical law. It's a lot. 120 weeks. That sounds like a lot, but all I did was show up every week. And do you know, guys, for like the last 2 years, a large part of me felt as if I wasn't really doing anything, or I wasn't really moving as quickly or as much as I should. But during this time, I was also acing every single one of my classes. Like, I have a 4.0, guys. And there's a reason why. Like, I was doing the work. I was doing the research. I was doing the assignments and the papers that were necessary. while also still trying to develop an entrepreneurial venture. So what I'm saying is sometimes it doesn't seem as bad or as difficult or as stuck as we think. Sometimes, or a lot of the times, you actually are moving. You just have to reframe your perspective, reframe your story. And that's why I have the anti-hero link down there, because that's what I want to help us to do. I want us to take all of the narratives, take all of the stories, all of the events, all of the experiences that we've had, and to begin just mapping them out. Okay. So yeah, I did say that we're going to talk about one of the popular presentations that I had. We're going to go ahead and make sure that I do that this week, and the only way that I'll remember to do that is if I myself put it in the calendar, because I already have different ideas of like, man, how can I build on top of this and how can this work out? That's cool and all, but if you don't want to burn out, especially if you think very quickly, and especially if you think a lot, if you think ahead, if you think strategically, you will run yourself down to the ground if you do not sit still for a moment and just map out those ideas and then just get them done. Be patient with yourself. That's probably the biggest thing that I should say, is be patient with yourself. You can't do 40 burpees if you've never tried to do 5. It's just not going to work, especially every day. Like, my goal is to be able to hit 100 by the end of the year. I might be able to do it, like 100 straight. We're talking about doing the frog leg position, pushing out with the legs, doing the 1 push-up, then doing the jump. At one point, I couldn't have even done 20 push-ups at one time. And now I'm doing 45. Now, mind you, there is, a little extra activity in between. But the point is, we are 45 today, guys. It's because I did 1 step, 1 rep at a time, okay? Don't burn yourself out. Just do that 1 and just add on top of that. And the way that you do that in the content world, the way that you do that with writing, the way that you do that with music, maybe you just write 1 more. For some of us, maybe this may be a little extreme, but you just write 1 more chord. If you're a composer, right? Do what you have the capacity to do. Stretch yourself a little bit, right? Stretch yourself. But the point is, do not overburden yourself with all of the work that's necessary. You have the passion, great. Now hone in that passion. Make sure that you are able to. I'll give you a great example. So we actually replaced one of the shower heads in our bathroom late last week, and the water is the same, the pipe is the same, but the pressure is different. I don't know what's going on inside the new shower head, but the pressure is set up where it just takes all of the water from out of the original pipe, and it just builds it up in such a way that now you can have different settings. And the original shower head didn't have all of that. And now we're able to take this one, the same water, but it's got different pressure. The pressure hits differently, y'all. Like, y'all know, y'all that got the new shower heads, like, them joints hit differently. And the reason why is because it's building up, but harnessing the pressure and honing in so that when it does come out, it comes out very effectively. So that's what you want to be. You want to be efficient, and you want to just take your time. Win 1 rep at a time. Be patient with yourself. All right, guys. Because me, myself, I ain't running myself ragged with all of these videos, but what I will do, I know my capacity. I know the business ones I need to do. I know the motivational ones that I need to do, the spiritual ones that I need to do. So we got to map those things out. If you don't map it, you won't have the vision. If you don't have the vision, you will get lost in your feelings. All right, that's it. We're good. And we'll see y'all in the next one.